Hello everyone, Joshua Hayes at BigWaveTrading.com. I got a lot to go over, but I do have two new long positions for everybody. One's an ad signal, and one happens to be residing in our quarterly portfolio, which this quarter, despite all the volatility, is beating the S&P 500 by almost 2x. I'm going to reconstitute that portfolio February 19th. I even reduced size in it, kind of trying to outsmart the quarterly portfolio, and it's made me look like an idiot. But that's what this market is designed to do right now, because if you look at the QQQ, listen, we're finally semi rolling over. We still have our long-term moving averages trending up, so nothing is terrible yet. And until we break that low right there, that was at the end of November, everything is kind of fine. It's just going to be choppy to me. But right now, our leadership is not with the QQQ. That being said, when this tickets indicator, which is a proprietary indicator that we have at Big Wave Trading, and when you're a member of a quarterly or annual basis, you get this indicator free. This has been beautifully stair-stepping higher, but it's been above the zero line and trending higher. And this is your sweet spot right here. But it's been above the zero line until here. And since then, that happens to be when the chop started. And it just continues to weaken. And if you look at the SPY, which are the two that I use personally for leadership, you can see weakness there. However, if you look at what the current leaders are, RSP, new highs. Tickets indicator looks fine. DIA, not new highs on the tickets indicator, new highs on the price action. Tickets indicator looks fine. And when you look at MDY, new highs, tickets indicator above the zero line. You look at IYT, new highs, tickets indicator above the zero line. XLP, new highs, tickets indicator above the zero line. So this is very important, because if you look at when all of these happen to cross above, you got to know that this is where the focus gets moved to. And I think that we've done an excellent job at Big Wave Trading and being in the right stocks and not in the wrong stocks. It's just been a very, very crazy market. Now I'm going to switch to my antiquated charts because I like the way that these look the best. But I did warn everybody when the QQQ got red bop that we were possibly now in trouble with the ratio charts, tickets indicator, sentiment, retail actual cash levels all lining up for a pullback. We got the pullback. Now, I don't know if it's over. Nobody really knows in the future, but I think it's a positive sign we got this rotation. And even in the middle of this kind of selling, we've seen some ugly price action, in Bitcoin and Ethereum names. And guess what? We have not been participating in since right around, I would say, November is when I really started to tell everybody, hey, you've got to completely move away from these things. You get Bitcoin under the 200 SMA, there's just no reason to even be involved with this. And the tickets indicator, whenever this thing hit new highs, as I'll actually show you via IBIT right now, let's go to IBIT. You can see when we hit new highs right here, where was this indicator? It was below the zero line. So we've been away from these assets and not focus on these assets at all. So while people are dip buying MicroStrategy, dip buying Bitcoin, dip buying ETH, this has not been where our focus has been at all. Our focus is with the leaders. And this is why I'm bullish on this market, despite everything that's been thrown at it. You got stocks like TER, which, by the way, guess which stock is in the quarterly portfolio? TER. So I think I've already given you 2 out of 10 stocks that are in the quarterly portfolio. Another one we're going to reconstitute so I can start talking about it. Google. And you can see that one is looking fine. But you have that one looking good. You have Apple holding up looking good. Meta's not great, but it's not terrible either if you compare it to other software stocks. But if we just go to the leaders right now, you have TER, which is a clear leader. Look at this relative strength line with the moving average. This is really all I need to know. LITE, look at it. Despite everything that the market's thrown at it, look at it holding up. And LITE, once again, had a blowout earnings report that I want to go long. But look at that candle. Look at the next day candle. I can't get my inside hammer candles 21 EMA retest and or undercutting rallies to get long. They just keep going. And that's been a personal problem. Whenever I do identify a grade A catalyst event and I don't have a grade A chart set up with it, I try to finesse my way into these names. And I'm just blowing it. I'm blowing it left and right. MU had a similar situation back in December. I consider this a blowout earnings report. That didn't do well. HUT I got into because it actually set up an inside bullish candle, but still it wasn't what I was looking for immediately following the catalyst event. So this just continues to happen. And another recent one, which is really now biting me in the ass, is another leader that's really upsetting. GLW. So here I was like, let's do a buy stop above the closing price after we give it a couple days. Well, let's say I would have done it on day one. Let's just pretend like right after this day I do that. Well, I get triggered in, and let's say that my stop is below the low of the gap up day, which is how I normally play these. Well, I get shaken out. I get a hammer candle, but I don't get a hammer off the 9 or the 21 EMA, and I get a hammer candle with a weak close compared to the open. Now it does that. Now, do I get back in it? Probably should have, but I'm in the middle of nowhere. I'm in the middle of no man's land. And of course, it's working. So this is just a continuous situation that I'm running into. And even on this one, Deckers, this was a good earnings report. Was it a great earnings report? No, I don't consider it grade A. If Deckers is a grade A, AAA plus earnings report, if I have to get involved because the sales earnings growth was huge, they beat on the top and bottom line, share buyback, dividend increase, just everything's just aligned. Would I be taking this one above the high of the day today? Probably. Would I put a buy stop above the close of this level? Probably. But right now, DEC is not that kind of place, is not that kind of stock. And once again, even if I'm looking for a low risk entry, I'm not getting it here either. So I just continuously run into this situation with stocks that I really, really like. But once again, let's just look at some of these leaders. These are my focus names: SanDisk, STX, WDC, my baby, GEV, our largest swing position right now, TSEM, which I just went long yesterday. Nice day today. Not taking profits. Going to try to ride this one out. DOCN. Look at by the way, the white triangle, and I don't have a position in this one anymore, is when this was given out to members at Big Wave Trading. I do not have a position in this, DOCN. DOCN shook me out because I put my stops too tight. After this day here, I decided to slam all my stops to this low. You want to see another one that I got shaken out of? VIAV, but it was actually a 100% sell signal to me on an end-of-day basis. Back here, this is when I entered. Okay? Initial stop right here. The next day, because of that session there, I moved that final stop to that low a day. And of course, it ran me and never gave me a personal rebuy. Look at it now. And VIAV is one of the current leaders. So it's just another winning stock. SOLS, NXT, which by the way, I wish I had a position in. Do not. GLW, KLIC is a recent earnings winner. Should I have done a buy stop above the closing price? No. The base isn't neglected enough. So it is working out. It's one I'm watching for potential pullback entry. TXN, looking good. Now we're getting a little bit more weirder, but STRL, PWR, looking great. VIAV I already showed you. STRL, but that relative strength line at the bottom of the chart, that basically tells you everything. LUV, DAL, and that's another thing. I don't think that these travel-related stocks like Marriott would be hitting new highs if the entire economy was weak. So I just think this is a period of rotation that'll eventually go back into those leading NASDAQ names. But for the names that look like, MicroStrategy, yeah, they may be good for a bounce. Yeah, they may have bottomed. But look at all the overhead resistance it's going to have to fight through. I'm just not into it. I'm into stocks that are clear sailing. Hopefully they can consolidate and give me a proper entry. LITE did, unfortunately, give me a grade A earnings report. Just once again, just like MU, you're probably better than me if you're long, but I'm not getting my preferred entries. But still, it's good to see these names leading. So I also want to make mention, I added 2 stocks to my earnings winner continuation catalyst watch list, ROIV. Was that earnings report good enough for me to do a buy stop above the closing price and just want to get long this name? In my opinion, no. Maybe it is for you, so consider it. And then NVST, similar situation. But once again, the neglect in the base isn't deep enough or long enough for me to justify taking either NVST or OIV as earnings winner trades, but I will add them to a watch list. So tonight, I have two new long positions. One is in a name I'm already long. I'm going to add to it VIK. This is actually the third signal to get long. This was the first, this was the second, and this is going to be another add. I'm going to get long above the high of the day using a 2% limit offset. So the good to cancel buy stop will be 77.14. The limit will be a 2% offset. And I'll be calculating my size and risking to this low with a 1R position. So I'm willing to risk 1% of the entire account capital on this entry signal here. VIK is a leader. I love the relative strength line. Some quality. Only an 83 composite and a 69 EPS rating, but still, it's a leader. So it's another add signal for me for a potential big move. Now, Sienna, this volume and BOP surge today is because it's going to be added to the S&P 500 on Monday. So this is not a clean, natural move. But that hammer candle right on top of the 21 EMA, I gotta get long the stock. So this was also a swing position back here. It's also in the quarterly portfolio, but I got completely shaken out because of my tight stop management with the volatile market right here. It's okay. It's okay. So I'm going to take a new swing position, still currently long in the quarterly portfolio, above 273 with a 2% limit offset. And I'll be calculating my size and risking. I think I'm going to get more aggressive now after the RSP, MDY, IYT breakouts today. So I'll be risking to here and calculating my size using a 1R risk unit of the entire account capital on Sienna. Now I just want to show you something else. So I want to show you on the daily chart of Sienna here, the tickets indicator above the zero line, VIK above the zero line. I then like to make a further confirmation on the hourly time frame, VIK above the zero line, trending higher. Sienna above the zero line, trending higher. That's what we want to see. This is what we want to see. Getting back to the names that have recently been destroyed in this market, like IBIT, just a reminder. Oh, this is an hourly. Let's go back to daily. Tickets indicator already showing negative divergence as it breaks out to a new high. Gets below the zero line. At no point should any size be considered in this stock until it gets back above the zero line. You can try to bottom fish all you want. It's not a technique that long-term portfolio, I am looking to get long Bitcoin and Ethereum, just not at these levels. I still expect lower. I'm watching the Z-score. That's my personal load the boat levels. If you know what the Z-score is in Bitcoin, you can reference that. ETHA, similar situation. Right here, you get below the zero line. You never reclaim the zero line. Keeps you completely safe from this one. MicroStrategy. Talked about the dilution in this name, the disturbing cash flow in this name. Goes below the zero line back here in August. It has never reclaimed it since. And then one, it looks like it's getting blown up after hours. I warned everybody about this one, HIMS. Back when HIMS was making this move, I had people telling me that it's going to new highs, that HIMS is the next great thing, blah, 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 blah. If that's the case, why is the CLO, CTO, CIO, COO, CFO, and CEO selling like madmen? When the C-suite is selling in mass, that's a huge red flag. When one or two officers are every once in a while consistently selling some of their shares, that's one thing. When the entire C-suite is hemorrhaging out their positions, that's another. And that's what HIMS has done. Well, HIMS got below the zero line back here, tried to get back above it, but got back below it back here. This could have saved you a lot of money if you simply followed this tickets indicator and only got involved when it was above the zero line. There's also a recent stock that whenever it was working, I was really into, CRDO back here. But one thing I never understood was why is all of the C-suites selling it en masse? Then it had an amazing earnings report here, and it was just a stuff. Since that stuff, it's just selling off. Well, the hint that something's wrong is with the C-suites. Go check it out on the FinViz page, and you'll see all the C's are selling. When the C's are selling, bad things can happen. So if SanDisk on its move higher had a ton of C-suite selling, is that a problem? You better believe it is. But during this entire move up, has any of the C-suite been selling any shares? They have not. There's a reason for that.